Good morning. Good morning. I am doing my speed 35 workout, and I'm actually I'm not dying, but I'm surviving, which is good. Surviving is a good thing. We all want to survive a workout, right? But we get these breaks, which we didn't really get these breaks before, so getting these breaks is helpful. Especially when you're used to only working out for 22 minutes or 25 minutes, and then you extend it an extra 10 minutes. So when you extend it an extra 10 minutes, it's beneficial for me anyway. For me anyway, when he gives us those breaks. So I kind of paused it though. Here I go again. Pausing it. But I wanted to come to you today about anxiety and depression. And anxiety and depression are 100% real. They are not something that people just talk about or that people just make up, or that people can just get over. It's not like that at all. I for a very long time struggled with, it's still kind of a struggle, but I guess I didn't really realize that I had it. I thought it was normal in high school to have that. I didn't realize that I had it until I had children. That's when it came out it reared its ugly head, I guess you would say. Because as soon as I had kids, it was awful. After I had my first child, it was bad, and then once I didn't realize what all these feelings were, and I felt guilty for having those feelings. It was awful. It was completely awful. But I sought help after my first kid, and it wasn't like huge help. I didn't go to therapy or anything, and I actually didn't even read a self-help book. I prayed and really wanted change, and really tried for change. And I would, ask, for prayer and help from other people. But here's the thing, okay? I left my remote on the floor. It's a real thing. It's like sometimes you're like a ball and chain to anxiety. I have all these notes for you, like post-it notes that I just jotted down to write, and they're over there, and I can't even read them. But when they come together and they join forces, when your depression and your anxiety come together and join forces, whether it's after a baby, whether or just at any point in your life, it's hard. But I don't want to say like I slowly realized, or like a light went off, but I realized that I no longer wanted to feel that way, and I wasn't sure where to start. I don't want to say prayer wasn't working, but it wasn't the only source. Prayer never really changed how I felt about myself. So it wasn't the ultimate force. It would help for a little while. And there are a lot of things like meditation and positive affirmations, and even like self-help books that help you change your mindset, and you can get relief for a little while. And then what happens is you get relief for a little while, and then sometimes you just start to slack. You think you're cured, you think you're fixed, but the thing is the darkness that's inside all of us, like all of us. Every single one of us struggle with some sort of anxiety and some sort of depression. There is darkness in every one of us. That happened at the beginning of time, and there's nothing we can do about it. So the darkness that resides in all of us, it stays there, and it haunts us. And when we try to do better, when we try to change, when we want more for our lives, when we try to reach success, whatever, when you set your goals higher, when you try to get out of your comfort zone, it haunts us. There is darkness inside all of us, each and every single one of us. And a lot of it is fear-based. A lot of it is limiting beliefs. A lot of it is not feeling good enough with who you are, or if you're doing enough, or there's so much to it. Like, this video can't be all about that. Anyway, so I decided to change my body, because that was the number one thing that haunted me daily. That was the number one thing I was depressed about, but then I was depressed about it, and then I would emotionally eat, because that's just what I did. And then I'd feel like crap, so I'd restrict myself, and then I would binge eat, and then it was just a vicious cycle, and that was the cycle that I went through for a very long time. And I was sick and tired of it. And I was sick and tired of, I felt guilty for the way that I thought about myself. I felt guilty for the way that I thought about, like, my family, my kids. And I didn't want to feel that way anymore. They didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve a person like that I was then. They didn't deserve me at that state. And I decided to no longer not put up with it, but like to find change. And that started with working out, to be honest with you, because I heard once that your brain's only way to detox is through exercise. And I was like, what? Like, your liver, you can detox with like certain products and certain what are they called, turmeric and stuff like that. You can detox them with those things, and you can detox your kidneys, but the only way to detox your brain is to work out. And I was like, shit. All right. Well, I don't like how I feel, and I don't like how I look, and I don't like how I think. So I started to work out. And as I worked out, day 1, day 2, day 3, every day got easier the more I stayed committed, and the more I changed. And then my body started to change. And then I realized that after workouts, I could focus. I had motivation to do things. It might have taken me 3 hours to get off the couch to actually work out, but I had the motivation to do things after the workout. I could make better choices. I could think clearly. I wasn't drowning in my own, I need to do this, but I don't really want to do this. I could really give a shit if this is done. Like, I wasn't going back and forth between myself. I focused, I did it, whatever was on my to-do list got done. And that's how, I guess, the fitness started. Because I had better focus, I had better mindset, I had better clarity, and I had better motivation. Motivation isn't something that just magically appears. It comes after one day after another, building blocks of success. Completing day 1, you're successful. Completing day 2, you feel more empowered and more successful every day that you complete. So I went from anxiety, I didn't know I had it in high school, I thought it was just normal. And then I went from having kids, and then like anxiety and depression, and like it was insane. I'm pretty sure I cried on a daily basis. And you don't necessarily have to cry to have depression, guys. Like, not everybody who has depression cries. I'm looking at my notes. And then I would pray, and I thought that prayer, would change things. But here's the thing, like, prayer is an amazing thing. And now, don't get me wrong, and don't start like hammering me down, blah blah blah, about prayer. Okay, prayer isn't magic. Prayer is not magic. It's not a magic wand. You can pray and still not believe in what you're praying. You can pray and still not believe or have faith that it's actually going to happen. If you pray and you don't have faith or belief that it's actually going to happen, it's not. Because what are you praying for if you don't believe in anything? Are you just saying the prayer because you're hoping that magic happens? God, please help me. We're not 5 and saying our prayer before supper. Prayer is not a magic wand. Just like positive affirmations, where you have to believe what you're saying, you have to believe what you're praying. You have to have faith in the person that you're praying to. When you say your positive affirmations, it's kind of actually like a prayer as well. It's an out loud prayer, or speaking to the universe, because the universe, in fact, does have your back. That's a good book, by the way. You should read that. What else? I don't know. Emotional eating. Emotional eating is a big trigger. But the fear that's inside of us, like there's darkness in all of us. And honestly, I thought that there was more, and I started to find more. And then I joined this company, and in this company you have to read personal development. And I was like, I'm not reading that crap. Like, I thought personal development was a crock of crap. So then I heard something somewhere that you can only grow as far as your glass ceiling allows you. You can't grow in success, in marriage, in relationships, in finances if you continue to hit the glass ceiling. That glass ceiling is your glass ceiling. It's your limiting beliefs, it's your fear, and it's there, and it's real. So I started to read personal development, and I started to change, and my mindset started to change. So things happened in a trickling effect to where I wasn't really chained to it anymore. I wasn't really chained to depression and anxiety together, at least. Sometimes one day it was one, and one day it wasn't the other. And sometimes they were both dormant. And it was freeing, and it was amazing. And a lot of times I think it comes back, and the more I analyze it, the more I try to make logic out of it, the more my logical mind tries to figure out why this happens. I think, and I believe, that it always happens around exciting things. It always happens around big events. It always happens around things like that. Like when so my birthday, Beachbody Summit, a new program, those are exciting things for me. And the overwhelming feeling comes in, and that fear of not being enough, that fear of wanting to do so much, that not being able to have control. Like, that is our biggest fear, is not being able to have control. And once I don't do this, I'm not perfect, but once you kind of address your fear and like say that you are no longer going to allow that fear to control your thought pattern, it becomes more of a conscious effort. It's kind of like when you go to Bible school or whatever Sunday school, and they say like when you pray or you can talk against the devil. It's kind of like that. Like the darkness that's inside of you, you're speaking against. That fear that's inside of you, you're speaking out to, like, hey, I know you're there, and I'm not going to allow you to control my thought patterns anymore. And sometimes we don't know it's there, and sometimes, like, it hits us like a ton of bricks. But it's good to, like, our logical minds like to figure out what's going on. And then we just get upset with ourselves because we can't figure out what's going on in that moment. In that moment, it's hard. So sometimes I find that I have to let it ride, but consciously know that it's there, and then try to figure out what it was that was attacking me, what it was, what darkness inside of me was coming out, what I was afraid of, what was holding me back, what was that limiting belief. And that's how I've slowly progressed over the past 2 years from anxiety and depression. And it still obviously haunts me, like when I have big goals, or when I have, big events, or when I have like huge things. Once I'm on the down, like everything was so exciting. I went to New Orleans, I had my birthday, like this entire thing, this new program that we're doing, like there's so much. And I think coming on the downward of that, I felt like I was incapable, like I wasn't going to be a good leader, like I wasn't a good mom, like I wasn't giving enough time to them, but was I giving enough time to my business? Was I doing enough at home? So that's what happens to me on the downward spiral or hill or whatever, and that's when that fear starts to set in. That's when that limiting belief starts to set in. And I think that it's normal, and I know that every single one of us has some sort of anxiety and some sort of depression, because every single one of us has darkness that lies within. And it's a battle that we fight daily. And some of us, fight it by like dragging ass through the day. And that's how I used to fight it. Some of us fight it with medication. And then some of us refuse medication, which is me. I refused medication. And said, no, I'll find a way. And I did. And it started with fitness. And it wasn't perfect. It's never been perfect. It's one day at a time. One success after another. Empowering yourself one day at a time. And it has worked. Yesterday was a really shitty day. And yesterday was, I listened to a sermon online. And yes, it resonated with me. And yes, I love to listen to that. But even that, people are like, go to church. Like, I was going to church when I was drinking 2 bottles of wine at night. So going to church doesn't actually change you. Anyway, so we all have that lives inside of us, that the darkness, the limiting belief, the fear. And it's important. It's important to know that it's there. And it's important to call it out. Like, call out the BS. Know that it's there. Confront it. To help you move forward. So that you're not dragging through the day all the time. And that was one of my things. Like, that was one of my non-negotiables, actually. In proactive, being proactive about your depression and anxiety. If I wasn't going to take medication, I had to be proactive. And, they mentioned fitness and whatever. And I was like, fine. So, and I hated the way I looked, and I hated my body anyway, so I did it. And it started to work. So, it's one day at a time. One workout at a time. And the workouts is what helps you. Your brain cannot detoxify itself ever. It can't. You cannot walk through life and detoxify your brain with any sort of juice, shake, nothing. You have to exercise. Exercising is the only way to declutter your brain and the only way to have mental clarity and clear out the cobwebs. You can detoxify your liver, you can detoxify your bowels, or whatever. But you cannot detoxify your brain with any sort of liquid. You have to work out. That is how you detoxify your brain. So when you start to work out, when you have that anxiety and you have that depression, it starts to clear the cobwebs, which helps you think better. And then when you start to add in personal development, you start to rewire those cobwebs. Anyway, so we all have the darkness inside of us, but we all want happiness, and we all want to live on purpose, and we all want a happy life. But the darkness drags us down, and we all need to find a way for the darkness to no longer drag us down, to find love, to succeed, to find freedom, and to acknowledge the fear that's inside of us, that holds us back, the limiting belief that's inside of us. And it's different for everybody, and at every phase of your life, it's going to be different. Like mine yesterday was different than mine was 2 years ago, and it's important to address that. So now I'm going to finish my workout. It's like 5 minutes, and I don't know where the remote control is. What are you doing, Terror? What? What? English? English? You want no shake. No shake. Not right now. You gonna work out with me? Yeah. What? Connor. Come on. Don't step. Come here.
Remember, feet together. Work that move. Modification, slow it down. Stay on the balls of your feet. Let's go. Come on. Only 30 seconds, so I need more of a push. I need you to work harder. I need you to push more. Come on, faster. Come on, guys. Come on. It's only 30 seconds. You can do anything for 30 seconds.
It's only 30
seconds. You believe it. Let's go. Keep moving. Halfway there. Everybody get lower. Get lower. Challenge. Where does it feel at? Where do you feel it? it? When you feel it? When you feel it? Come on. Come on. 4, when you feel it. 3, and it's 2, 1. Beautiful job. Plane shifter, you know the drill. Stay low. Up, over, down, over. Modification, stay in the middle. Tap away. Here we go. Plane shifter, guys, in 3, 2.
This was hard.
One.
I'm not very
Come on, guys.
coordinated.
Push it. It's only 30 seconds. I want to see you move. Come on, Chris. Over that marker. Over, Abby. Step over. Back flat. Abs tight. Come on. I need you to down lower. That's okay. Reset, buddy. No, we don't. It's not good. I get it. We all fall short, but you're going to get better right now. Let's go. Hey, get over. I want you to get all the way back. Over. That's it. Drop it. 10 seconds, Chris. Stay focused. Come on. You got it. You got 5, 4, 3. Come on, Chris. 2, 1. Beautiful work. Oblique pickers it is. Now, just burn the squats up. Good. Feet together. Cross that marker. Keep that chest up. Modification. Out, in. Reach across that body. Ready to work? All right, oblique pickers. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Sit low. Abs tight. Now, where do you feel this? Your core? All right. I know you got great form. I'm going to work with you on this one. Me and you going to do this together. We're not stopping. It's only 30 seconds. You're going to push me. I'm going to push everybody else. Let's go. Let's work. Throw that arm behind me. Come on, guys. Everybody sit low. Everybody sit low. Come on. We're pushing. We're in it together. We got 5 seconds. 4. Come on. See this Grant? He's sitting low. 1. Beautiful job. There we go.
Is this what they do nowadays?
Leg hops, guys. You don't need a break. Remember, shift that leg over that marker. Just leap over. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Over, over, over. Take it back. Come on. I love it, Kevin. Way to dial in. Way to go.
Oops, I just did this leg.
Come on, Amanda. At this point, I know you're tired. But you know what? Great things happen when you're tired. Great things happen when your mind tells you to give up and you keep pushing. Come on now. Keep working, guys. We're in this together. You got 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Come on. It's in there. Keep pushing yourself. Give birth to it. You're so much better than you could ever imagine. 3, 2, 1. Diamond drill. All right, here we go. Let's keep going, guys. Back here, the home base, diamond drill. You know it. Out and in. Stay low. I want to see you work this for speed. I want you to pick it up this time. All right, here we go. Diamond drill in 3, 2, 1. I want to see speed. Go. Come on, be faster than that. I know you can do it. Come on, let's go. Come on. Come on. Stay at it. Come on. Come on. Help those arms. When you feel it. Come on. You feel it. When your thighs and your feet. I'm not telling you. There's most people who are not pushing themselves the way you're pushing yourself. You're proving that you can accomplish anything that you believe in. Let's go, guys. Come on, keep working. Where you feeling, Amanda? Keep working. Stay focused. You got 5 seconds, guys. Come on. 4, 3, 2. Beautiful job. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
That is crazy.
Last move of the workout. Spider climb.
What are you doing?
Grand finale time.
Come on, pepperoni?
Got a challenge for you.
Okay, hold on.
Challenge for everybody to the shot. Everybody take your positions. Now, this is 45
Where you going?
seconds. I'm going to call it out. I want you to stay focused, stay engaged. Whatever emotion you're feeling, let it out. This is it. Let's leave on a high note. Let's all leave in power. You ready to work? Modification. I don't even want you to do a modification in this one. I want you to push. All right? If you get tired of getting modified, go to it, but I want you to challenge yourself. Here we go. Spider climbers, guys. In 3, 2, 1. Blue yellow. Come on. Keep working it. Blue. Whoa. I like that. Yellow. Woo. You see that? Blue. Oh, yeah. Come on, keep your speed up. Yellow. Okay, we feeling it now. We feeling it. Blue. Nice. Yellow. Oh, yeah. Blue, yellow. Come on, keep working it. Don't stop now. Just give me all blue, yellow. Until I tell you to switch it. Keep going. Keep going. I love it. I love it. This team is strong. That's what I'm talking about. Keep pushing. Keep those hips down, guys. Everybody's hips down. Stay focused. You got it. You halfway there. Come on. Come on. How you feel? Keep that back flat. Abs tight. Come on, guys. Come on. I love it, Shannon. Let it out, Shannon. Let it out, Shannon. 5 seconds. Keep going, girl. Keep pushing. 3, 2. Woo! Yes. Way to work. Way to work. Real quick. High five. High five. High five. All right.
That's crazy.
Way to go. All right.
I'm gonna go here.
Good push. Food out. All right, guys.
That is insane. Crazy.
Cross that left arm across our chest.
Woo! Oh, I meant to mute him, not pause him. So,
Here. Breathe. This is your moment. Take it in. You just work hard. Yes.
I guess my challenge to you is to find a workout. Find a workout that works for you. I was talking to a girl yesterday, and she's like, "You're right. I need to go to the gym. I have a friend who owns a gym. Go. Walk outside. Run outside. It just needs to get your body moving, blood flowing, and to clean your brain, to clear your mental status." So I started off depressed. Oh no, I was anxious in high school, but I didn't really know what that was. And then anxiety and depression were really prominent after my first. Gaining 95 pounds probably didn't help me, but it was there. And in my postpartum experience, I didn't like who I was. I didn't like the thoughts that went through my head either. And I would pray. But guys, prayer is not your magical wand. You can't pray and not actually believe and have faith that it's going to happen, or that that God's going to come and help you, or that God's going to come and give you peace. You have to believe it. It's not your magical wand. Same thing with positive affirmations. When you say those things, you can't just say them. I am strong. I am a good mom. You have to believe them. You have to have oomph into them. And they're not magical wands either. Same thing with prayer. Okay? Prayer isn't your magical wand. Does it help? Yeah. Absolutely it helps, especially if you truly believe that that God's gonna help you, and that you have faith that, you know, whatever storm you're going through, most of us don't have we don't think we're gonna feel like crap all the time. We don't feel like depression isn't where we thought we were gonna be. Where you are right now might not be where you thought you were gonna be, but guess what? Like, God has a purpose and a plan for every single one of us, and that was part of the message that I listened to yesterday afternoon. Is God has a purpose for us all. We're not sure what it is. We might not know our story or why we're going through the things that we're going through right now, but I guarantee you, if you push through the struggle and you try to be better and you look the fear in the eye or your limiting belief in the eye, and you continue to move forward, because God has a plan for you and God has a purpose for you, and He's going to use you and use your story for something. And remember that, start small, one day at a time. One accomplishment after another is how you build success for yourself and empower yourself against that darkness and against that fear. Meditation is important too. Here's the thing: is when you feel great and you fought the darkness and you think that it's gone, remember that it's not. That darkness is always inside of you. Will always be inside of you. And emotional eating is a huge thing too. Like, how do I have success when I have anxiety, and then the anxiety makes me want to emotionally eat, or depression makes me want to emotionally eat? So last night, do what I've done this whole journey. Like, when I want to emotionally eat and I want greasy food or a sweet treat, I find an alternative to this. You can see it in my story. I find an alternative to greasy foods, and I find an alternative to sweet treats. Last night I had buffalo tenders with blue cheese and celery. Still on plan. And then I made Shakeology ice cream. Chocolate, peanut butter, delicious. Okay? It's like having a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, except it's still on plan. So you can do that too. And that will help kind of like, trick yourself, kind of like when you trick your children. That's what it does with your brain. It kind of tricks your brain because you so badly just want to eat crap, or and you can't because you're on this meal plan. So then you actually feel like even worse because you can't, and you're not supposed to, and you're committed to this, and you're gonna let yourself fail, and blah blah blah. So find alternatives, healthy alternatives to those things. So I had buffalo chicken tenders with blue cheese dressing. Still on plan, still on track. And then I made Shakeology ice cream with peanut butter. Chocolate ice cream with peanut butter. Still on plan, still on track, and help the superfoods help as well. So it is freeing. Personal development isn't a crock of crap. Start one step at a time. And if you're praying, pray with faith and enthusiasm. And be real. Don't just think that you're throwing it up in the air and it's some magic wand that's going to be like, yeah, you're fine. You have to do the work too. You have to do the work as well. Like, he will help you and he will give you peace, or whatever, like the universe, whatever you believe in. But God will help you and will give you peace. But if you're not going to work on it, if you're not going to like change, if you're not going to, do one step at a time of like working out, or, trying to eat better, or reading personal development, then it's not going to happen. It's kind of like those people that are like, oh, please, God, I haven't gone to work in 7 months. It's like those people, the people that pray for provision, but don't do a damn thing. You can't do that. You can't pray for peace and success and freedom from anxiety and depression, but not do a damn thing to work for it. It doesn't work like that. So anyway, that's my tip of the day. Like, my challenge to you is to find some personal development and start moving your body. Walk outside, run outside, set aside 20 minutes to move your body. And when you pray and do your positive affirmations, do them with enthusiasm, like you believe it, not like you're setting up a wish. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.